Hello everyone and welcome back to another Minecraft update video for 1.20.3, not to be confused with 1.21. This snapshot introduces the new automated crafting block known as the Crafter under the Experimental Features tab. This is seen when you create a new world. Down here at the bottom you can see Update 121, new features and content for Minecraft 1.21. And so by enabling this, you'll be able to play around with the crafter and other features that are probably coming in future snapshots. That, my friends, is a great reason to subscribe to the channel because it's what I do here. I cover the snapshots. And if you need bringing up to speed, let's go over the last two videos. First of all, part of Minecraft 1.21 was revealed at Minecraft Live. This video covers all of those features. And I followed it up with this really enthusiastic video about how I thought the crafter was going to change how we play Minecraft. And that's why I want to highlight this tweet from Nembom, one of the developers of Minecraft, who says that the crafter will not be revolutionary, but will make the game more streamlined. And I think he's got a good point. A lot of us are saying this is going to revolutionize the game, but I think we're just expressing our enthusiasm for being able to automate crafting. This is going to reduce the grind in the game of creating mass items for a crafting table for those of us that like to tinker with redstone. So we're going to take a look at this block. I'm going to explain what this contraption around the back here is and why unfortunately it doesn't work. But first of all, let's go through the other changes in this update. Now these changes are for 1.20.3. When that releases, you'll still be able to access the experimental features of 1.21, but when we go into that snapshot cycle, they'll simply become a part of the game. So for now, let's go into the accessibility settings and scroll down here, because did you notice it? You can now hide the splash text on the main menu. I had that button enabled. Did you notice it a second ago? There's no yellow splash text. So yeah, you now have the option to remove this if you so desire. I've been playing this game for so long that it just wouldn't feel right for me if it weren't there, so I'm going to leave it on. This next feature can be found in the Select World screen, where it will let you know if there is a missing file or a problem with a world, and you have this new Attempt to Recover option. This will then give you some information about what's wrong with your save. It says there is a missing file here, and that's because I deleted it so I could show you this screen. Anyway, there's this Attempt to Restore option, so now we got some features for corrupted worlds. Maybe the computer crashed while you were playing Minecraft and it corrupted your save. Well, this feature will hopefully be able to help you with that, as it is a recovery system for your Minecraft worlds. So I have no idea really how robust this system is and how many situations it can get you out of, but fingers crossed if you ever do have an issue, we now got that safety guard. Speaking of issues, all the bunnies in this world are still doing this. Okay, more changes. In the redstone tab, you will now find the decorated pot, because of course it interacts with redstone. And here's an interesting change for the crossbow. When loaded with a firework, aha, it can break decorated pots. I was hoping the blast radius here would be a little bit bigger. Kind of looks to me like you might want to shoot through the pots. Ooh. Okay, 25 pots in a row. That's what I've got. Oh, all but one. Wow. And if I'd have stood a little bit closer, its range might have gone a little bit further. I can see this being really fun in minigames now. And now we come to the end dimension, because this will now pop off the chorus fruit. And you see the item drop as well. So it's not just destroying it, it's dropping the item. This won't work for the stem though. There you go, it did nothing. And you might be thinking it doesn't work for these rockets here that explode, but it's got to collide with the flower. So now if you do that, you can pop it off with a rocket. And again, the item drops. There was also technical changes in this update, with the data pack and resource packs being updated. If you're a map maker using those jigsaw blocks, there are big changes in this snapshot, and it would seem that the resource pack was updated to support the crafter. And that's what we're going to get into next. So first things first, how do you craft one of these crafters? Let's open it up and find out. There you go. Iron, crafting bench, redstone, and a dropper. Just in case it needs to be said, the crafter is the block that automates crafting. And similar to a crafting bench, it has this layout. However, it's not like a crafting bench because this isn't an inventory space. If you put something here, it's just you seeing it. It's more like a container. So if you're in a multiplayer world and you put items in a chest, other players will see it. This is how the crafter works, so other players in your world will see the same thing inside of the crafter. One of the things you can't do is take the item out here. To do that, you have to power it with redstone. This can be done by powering a block adjacent to it, or you can put your signal directly into it. Now, its UI will enable you to toggle these slots on and off. When you change them, items aren't going to be able to put by other blocks inside of the crafter. There's also a tooltip telling you exactly what this does. And if you disable all of the slots, is it really still a crafter? Jokes aside, you might have noticed that it ejected the item from its face at the front. That is a very intentional face. So that's the way the item will be ejected. Or should I say items, because if there's more than one coming out of the crafter, it will spit them all out at once. It should also be mentioned that recipes that don't appear inside of the crafting book, like this fireworks star, those too can be created inside of a crafter. As you'll see, it has no problem making this item. And you might be wondering what happens to recipes that usually leave items behind in the crafting bench. Well, it spits everything out all at once. And touching on the placement of these blocks, not only can you face them in different directions on these axes, you can have it facing upwards in 4 different directions, and downwards in 4 different directions too. It's also got this cool texture on its bottom side, which you could use in decorating for walls. And the same could be said for the sides and the top too, if you wanted to. And back to the topic of this thing ejecting items, if there is a container in front of it, it will put them into the container. I should also point out that you can leave this block powered, and when it's powered directly, it can pass redstone through it. You'll notice that these corners here stay on, whereas the grid on the top and this little notch on the side, they turn on for a second and then go back to their regular state. Okay, this is its unpowered texture. Have we broke it? Ladies and gentlemen, we've officially broken the crafter block. Okay, I actually really like discovering stuff, and usually I'll go back and edit my video, but today I'm just keeping this in. The reason we're seeing that is because it's successfully crafting. If I take the items out, it stops. So that's actually an indicator for a successful craft. This at the back is just the indicator for if it's powered or not. And while we're using the observer, this thing will update if it successfully crafts or not. It just seems to update based on this block changing its redstone power. And you also can't move this thing with a piston. And I've now made a silent redstone clock so we can hear the sound of this block. Yes, it makes that sound when it successfully crafts. Okay, now for some more advanced stuff. Hoppers can push items into this block. If we unpower this, you'll see it starts to fill up. It can also take items out too. So if we do this, redstone will filter from in the crafter out to the hopper at the bottom. And we can feed in items from the side. But this time you'll see that I've gone and blocked off these slots. And then look at what's happening next. It fills it up in the priority of left to right going downwards. And once we have one item in each stack, it will then fill them up in the same order one by one. Now let's start this experiment again, but I'm going to go and put some items into this slot. And notice how they aren't ticking up. So it's putting them with that priority of left to right from top to bottom into the stack with the lowest amount. So if I go and put some over here and some over there, you'll see the ones that are filling up are the lowest. And I think the intention here is just to have this thing naturally balance out items. This won't be true of every recipe, but I think it makes sense for simple ones. You can see we're trying to make a block of redstone and we've accidentally put too many items in. Well, we craft it, we get our block, and then if we continue putting items in, it's going to put them in the slots at the bottom. Now, what happens when we take items out? Let's go and unpower this hopper, and you can see it just takes them from top left to bottom right. If I go and put a new item in, it just immediately takes from wherever it drops in. With droppers, things should be a lot simpler because it's controlled by the player. So we can push them in from above and the side. Can we push them in from the bottom? The answer is yes. The dropper can also act as a randomizer. So if we give it a few pulses, it'll push in random items. There you go, pretty cool. Last of all, we get to talk about how the comparator interacts with this block. If we go ahead and just disable a slot, that actually gives us a redstone signal. It's considering it like it's got an item inside of it. So the more of these we click, you'll see on the right hand side of the screen, doesn't matter what order in, the signal slowly goes up. So what happens when we try and put items inside of this thing? Well, as you can expect, it goes up due to the way it distributes items on the inside. Now pay attention to the signal strength when we increase this to a full stack. It doesn't actually change at all. So what it's counting is there an item in the slot or is it toggled? If either one of those is true, then it gives you some signal strength. And last of all, something I used to see in my comments whenever a new block was added, but doesn't seem to be questioned so much anymore, is can you mine it with this type of pick or that type of pick? the crafter can be mined with a stone pick or higher. Now that we've gone through all the details of the crafter, I want to bring you back to this contraption I was going to use to start my video off and express a little bit of disappointment as to how this works. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and press this button. We'll activate a bunch of droppers that feed into a hopper, and then when this thing has fully crafted, we'll do the same thing again. But this puts its item into here, and as you'll see, it creates bows. So we have sticks and string and sticks and string. And the crafter has been configured like this so we can make a bow. And then here we got the cobblestone multiple times, and somewhere down here the redstone. And we use that to make a dispenser. But oh no, what's happened here? When I first created this contraption, it worked a charm. I exited the world, I came back in, and it was broken. And actually, last time I used it, because I've since closed the world and opened it again, it was putting the items in like this. So despite having laid these out in the intuitive order you would expect the items to then move through the hoppers, due to how hoppers work and how they can be a little bit funky, they don't actually end up here in the order you want them to. Let's go ahead and run it again and just see if it does something different this time. In fact, I'm going to watch the items feed in. Oh, I've left the items in there. Let's go ahead and power this thing manually. It spits it out. But then the bow goes into that slot. Well, you get the idea. I'm sure we're going to see plenty of contraptions coming our way that help you with crafting. A common component will be this comparator on subtract mode back here, because I've got a lectern with signal strength 8. So of course, when the 9th slot gets filled in, it creates a pulse. And the idea here was to actually set it on a loop so it could just sit there, crafting them over and over again. Right, I believe I've covered all of the details we need to know about the crafter. So if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, make sure you subscribe to catch future snapshots. I'll see you soon with another one. Bye bye.